guys! Today I'm making the tiniest McDonald's you've probably ever seen. This craft was a lot of fun, so I hope you enjoy it. There's tiny little burgers, fries, chicken nuggets, a little soda machine, and some cash registers. But before we get started, I wanted to quickly plug my other channel, Rainbow's Toy and Doll Adventures, where I do doll parodies and toy reviews, so if you're into that sort of thing, you should totally check it out. And as always, kids, do be sure and ask a parent for help before starting this craft. Okay guys, so my foundation is just cardboard. And here are the measurements for the bottom piece, just to kind of give you an idea of the size of the McDonald's for purposes of the printables. I wrap in paper. And paint with acrylic paint. Then I cut out a piece of just packaging material, so the thin cardboard. Paint, then glue another piece of the thin cardboard along the bottom. 2 more pieces of regular cardboard for the roof. The bottom piece, the longer piece, is just over 3 inches wide. I wrap in paper, glue together, and paint. Next, I print the printables on glossy photo paper. These are the ones I made. And then I just Googled a McDonald's logo and printed that. I cut out and can begin gluing to my pieces once I assemble the cardboard. Then I glue 2 pieces of thin cardboard together and paint for my sign. And to make the bench, I'm using cardstock. You could also use thin cardboard. I glue together. Give it time to dry before cutting out, scoring a line, folding, and trimming for my bench, which I then paint with glossy acrylic paint. The base is made from the doubled up thin cardboard. I cut out a strip, just rounding the edges, adding perler beads on each side for the bench, and 2 perler beads in the middle for the table. Allow everything to dry, then paint. And when that dries, I glue my benches and a thin piece of craft foam for the table. Next, for the cash register, just using more of the doubled up cardstock and a piece of craft foam, which I can paint. The soda machine is more of the doubled up cardboard. I add a thick piece of craft foam, paint silver, and add the label. To make a tray, just more of the doubled up packaging cardboard. I add a strip of cardstock around the edge. And paint. And now I can make the food. I start by peeling away 1 layer of this paper because I used glossy photo paper and it's pretty thick like cardstock, and I didn't want it to be because it's a lot easier to work with when it's tiny. Just carefully trimming everything here, which, as you can imagine, is kind of tedious, so you want to be pretty careful. And to make everything easier, I'm scoring on the lines, so I'm using an X-Acto knife and just pressing down on each one of the lines. And folding, which can be a work in and of itself, but it really is worth it because then you have tiny little French fries and they're adorable. And I glue the sides. And I highly advise having a toothpick or needle and tweezers around because they help me quite a bit. And for the fries here, using super thin craft foam, cutting even thinner, basically cutting as thin as I possibly can, and gluing. And for the drink, I wrap it around a toothpick to kind of help guide me. Add glue and press. And mine wasn't exactly perfect once I'd glued it, so I just trimmed the bottom so that it would stand upright, glued it to a piece of paper, gave it time to dry, and cut out. And finally, for the chicken nuggets, I score on all the lines, cut the tabs, and assemble. Gluing the side tabs to the side. And for the chicken nuggets, I'm just stretching out some white craft foam, adding orange, it's actually pumpkin, a lot of water, and a tiny bit of white. And then just sort of smearing it around the craft foam. And when that dries, cutting out the tiniest piece I can achieve, and then just coloring again on a tissue, but smishing it down so they're not too dark. And your chicken nuggets are good. And to make the burger, for the actual meat, I just color a piece of thin cardboard with a dark brown. I use the third setting on my multi-hole punch to punch out, and using that same size, I cut out brown craft foam for the buns. I use cardstock for the lettuce. And glue. And when everything's glued, I just kind of smash it down so it's not as massive of a burger, but you might find that your glue, if your pieces slip around, you may have to re-glue them. And just making a wrapper by coloring regular paper yellow. I make an extra soda and glue it to the soda machine, add my cash registers, and my food to my tray. And guys, you are so totally good to go. Well guys, I sure hope you enjoyed the video. Although it was a little bit tedious, it was a ton of fun to make. And if you have any other suggestions, I'd absolutely love to hear them. Thanks guys!